Hello, guys, and welcome back to Sonic Labs. And today we'll be looking at some of the most common mistakes that people do while using reverb plugins. So, let us begin. The very first mistake that I see that people make is suppose there is a section in their track where there are a few elements. For example, there are vocals, there are some synths, some plugs, some pad sounds, some atmospheric sounds. And what they do is they apply reverb on each one of them. And the mistake that they make is they assign different room sizes to each of them in the reverb settings. Now, what actually a reverb does is it emulates the effect of a room's space on a sound. Like it will show you how a sound will sound when you place it in a particular dimension of space. When you put it in a space with particular dimensions. Now, using different room sizes is not a problem unless you are doing it with elements which are not playing at the same time. Now, if your elements are all playing at the same time and all of them have different room sizes, it won't sound natural, first of all, and second, it will affect your mix in a bad way because it won't sound natural at all, since it would sound like all the sounds are coming from a different space, a different volume of space, and that just doesn't feel like it doesn't sound right to our ears. It sounds artificial. The next common mistake that people make is they use really long decay times on their reverbs. Now, there's no problem in doing that unless you are doing it intentionally to just create some atmospheric space. But there are some elements which are limited to their size. Now, by that, what I mean is, for example, consider a plug sound. Your plugs are playing a melody, and if you have too much of decay on them, the reverb on the plugs, then there will be like overlap between the notes, and sometimes that won't sound really good. Like it would sound really bad musically. And when you will listen to it with context with your entire mix, the plugs won't sound as good as you think they would have sounded. And the same thing goes with your drum samples, like your hi-hats. Your hi-hats might have some variations in them. There might be some rolls. You might have triplets. So if you have long decay times, again there's chances of the sounds, the reverb tails overlapping on each other. So basically it will just put a bad effect on your mix. So you should choose your decay time wisely according to the sound, the ADSR of the sound. Another common mistake that I have seen people making is that they don't EQ the reverb after applying it to any sound, and that's a really bad thing for your mix. Because, first of all, if your sound doesn't have low frequencies in it, and suppose the reverb that you put on the sound generates some of them, then even if you have EQ'd your original sound, you will end up having some low resonant frequencies at the end of the sound, and that will just badly influence your mix. Also, it's not just about high passing or low passing the reverb sound. If you experiment with the EQ points of only the reverb, you can get different tones out of it, and in turn it can completely change the sound on which you are applying the reverb. And you can also do some corrective EQ by taking out some notches like this. And if you think that your reverb is not bright enough, you can just boost the highs. You can just high pass or low pass it to make it sound more clear. So basically, you should consider your reverb signal as important as the original signal. So EQing it is really important after just applying it. And once you EQ your reverb, it won't just sound better in your mix, but it will also make the individual sound even more better, and you will have more control over the tone of that sound. Now we all know that reverb is a really amazing effect, and it can completely change any sound into a completely different sound, which would sound much more better than before. And we tend to use it a lot. But sometimes what people do is they use it excessively on their sound. And by that, what I mean is balancing the dry and the wet signal is really important. Like, you need to decide that what amount of reverb you want on your sound, and you need to decide like at what point you will just start losing your original sound and completely washing it out. Also, if you do it on multiple elements, your track would just sound too muddy, and it won't have a solid body in it. So the mistake is that people use excessive reverb on almost everything. So I would suggest you shouldn't do that, and always adjust the dry and the wet mixed level to the point where you can have the best effect out of your reverb and also preserve the original sound. Now, this next one is a bit complicated because not many people do it, but still there are people who make this mistake, and that is they use really complicated reverb setups. Like, they have two or three different types of reverbs to which they are sending their instruments. Like, they have a long hall reverb, they have a medium hall reverb, and then they have a small hall reverb. And all three of them are occupying individual tracks of their own. And also, then they will have some plate reverbs with the same variation. So, they'll have like a tons of different types of reverbs loaded on their mixer tracks. And what happens is you send your different instruments to different types of reverbs, and it ends up sounding really bad in your mix because each reverb is really, really unique as you try to compare them. And when you use such different types of reverbs at the same time, it will definitely not sound good. So, what I suggest is you should just keep it simple. Use one or two types of reverbs at a time, and you can use each and every sort of reverb whenever you want, but you should just make sure that you are using it at the right time and at the right place, by which I mean uh, the time when there is a group of instruments playing, they all shouldn't have different types of reverbs on each one of them. So just make sure that you use one single type of reverb on each element that's playing at same time to get clearer mixes. Next, we have really the next problem is ignored by most of the people, and it is about the stereo placement of the reverb. Like we just apply a reverb, we change the room size and the decay size, and maybe we EQ it like high pass and low pass, and then we just leave it as it is. Now, the thing that we forget about is the stereo placement of your reverb. Now, it is really important like where your reverb stands in the mix, because if your instrument on which you are applying the reverb is in mono and the reverb that you're using might be a bit stereo sounding, then it won't sound as merged with the original sound as it should. Both the signals won't sound as one. So, if you have a mono sound and you are using a reverb on it, you should make the reverb mono so that it blends nicely with the sound. Also, there are many elements in your mix which are placed in different stereo fields. So, each element has a place of its own in the stereo field. So, if you don't set the stereo field of the reverb also with the original sound, you might end up just getting a muddy mix. You might get some issues with your mono compatibility. So you should always adjust the stereo field of your reverbs with respect to the original sound. At last, I would say that this is not a mistake but a suggestion from me, that you shouldn't be afraid of experimenting with reverbs. And as I said before, a reverb emulates the sound of a certain space with particular dimensions, but that's not just the only use of a reverb. And there are many different types of reverbs that give you a variety of sound. So you can use reverb like an experimental effect rather than just using it to emulate some sort of space for your instruments. So don't be afraid to experiment with it, and you can always try doing something new with it and get unique results each time. So that's it for the video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and please like the video if you liked it and consider subscribing to the channel for more such content in future, and I'll see you in the next.